Business, tax, and accounting secrets you do not want to miss. That is what we are going to get into today. I am Tim Fitzpatrick with Rialto Marketing. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am really excited to have with me today Jamie O'Kane with J.E. O'Kane CPA. Jamie, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I always enjoy our conversations. I get a ton of value out of it. I always
Yep.
try to give a bunch of value in return. So
Yep.
I hope you're feeling that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's my thing. We do
yeah,
value and we, try to help business owners.
that's it. Now, before we get into all this tax and accounting stuff, which
Mhm.
for those of us that don't know it real well, sometimes it
Mhm.
can put us to sleep, but it is a super important part of our businesses.
Yeah.
So before we get into that, just
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about you, what you do, how you help business owners.
Yeah, so I've had my own firm for about 7 or 8 years. I was the tax manager in a medium-sized firm here in the tech center before that. We help small business owners. We do advanced tax planning, which means that we really dig into the nitty-gritty of tax puzzles. Taxes aren't 5 minus 3 equals 2. It's more like 12 minus 110 equals. There's a lot of moving pieces for every tax situation.
Yep.
So what we do is we dig into those puzzles, we move pieces around in a way that makes sense for the client, and we're looking for cash savings, we're looking for wealth building. We want to get our clients to their end game, and a lot of the time we can do that through cash savings, so they can grow their businesses.
Yep. Awesome. I love it. So I think the first thing that a lot of us struggle with, right, is
Hmm.
hit or miss,
Hmm.
is we gotta find a good accountant first
That's
to
the
help us
million
to
dollar
help guide
question.
us through this process, right? I don't,
Yeah.
I'm a marketer.
Mhm.
I'm not a CPA, right? We
Right.
need to hire this stuff out, but we need to make sure that we're getting good advice. So,
Hmm.
what steps can we take as business owners to help us find a good accountant?
I think the big thing is understanding, kind of the differences. So you can stop me at any time. I could talk about this all day because it's an
No,
important topic that people don't understand.
I
Um,
agree.
but there's different designations, right? So we have CPAs. So we're certified public accountants. We're generally regulated through our states. We all have accounting degrees. We have to be CPAs. And then most of us have some type of working relationship or have worked in a CPA firm. There's some kind of hours requirements depending on your state. So we're state regulated. So if you go to somebody and they say they're a CPA, make sure you're checking on the state website that they actually are a CPA.
Okay.
I have had too many people be like, well, my CPA does my payroll, and then the CPA walked away with their payroll dollars and they're not actually CPAs. So make sure that you understand the different designations.
Okay.
The other big one is an enrolled agent. Enrolled agents are tax professionals, and they're regulated through the IRS. You can go on the IRS website and find them.
Okay.
The other thing you can do is you can go to the IRS website, and what they have is called a practitioner tax ID number directory. If you're looking for a tax person and somebody who does tax returns, you want to make sure that they're properly registered through the P10 registry. So those are a couple ways to just kind of make sure that the person you're talking to is the person they say they are,
Okay. I like it.
and to kind of understand the designations. We all do different things.
Yes.
I have people try to talk to me about nonprofits all the time. I don't do nonprofits. I have people wanting us to do their payroll. We don't do payroll. There's so many different places and things that we can do as accountants. There's plenty of auditors out there who don't know how to do taxes.
Right.
So know what you're looking for and know what services you want.
Are there, so I like that, right? You have to,
Hmm.
in order to
Hmm.
find somebody that's going to be a good fit, you have to
Hmm.
know what you want, what you
Right,
want to accomplish.
right.
Are there are there a few types of questions that we might want
Hmm.
to ask once we've already done that
Yeah,
research and we know, hey, this
yeah,
person's legit?
yeah. So I want to talk real fast about what are you looking for.
Yeah.
So if you just want tax returns, then don't try to find somebody who is relationship and knowledge based like our firm.
Yeah.
I get a lot of people that are just like, well, I just want tax returns. And I'm like, we're just not the people for you. We sell knowledge.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of that, if you're looking for somebody who just does tax returns and then expecting them to have a relationship with you or answer your questions or be responsive, all you paid for was a tax return,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And they might not do that. They might not do planning. They might not want to be responsive. They might just do tax returns from January to April and are gone the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So know what you're looking for and also know what you're going to be paying for, right? If you just pay for a $100 tax return, that's all you're going to get.
Right. Yeah. So part of the problem we may be having in finding a good accountant is we're not setting good expectations or proper expectations up
Yeah.
front.
Yeah. And not knowing or saying, I have people all the time that are like, my CPA just isn't communicative. Like they don't talk to me ever. And, I send them questions and they never respond. And I'm like, well, do you have like a relationship with them? Do they bill on recurring?
Right.
That's all we do. They're like, oh, well, no, I just talk to them once a year. Well, that's what you paid for.
Yeah. So you're getting what you paid for, but
Yes.
you didn't set the proper expectation up front.
Exactly. So if you want somebody that plans for you, if you want somebody that's communicative with you, that's there for you, that is a partner in your business,
Yeah.
then you need to find that person. So
Yeah.
those are the people that are going to be more knowledge based. They're selling knowledge, not products.
Right. Now, most of those people though are still doing tax returns, right?
Yeah, I mean we
Yeah.
kind of have to.
Yeah.
It's kind of required. We have
Yeah.
to do the backside compliance, especially with the planning that we do. We want the compliance so
Yeah.
that we can make sure things are done properly.
Got it. Okay. And so once we know those expectations, what questions do we ask?
I think a lot of it is, how do you work?
Yeah.
A lot of people just assume that they can just send me their tax stuff. Nope, we start with planning. You want to understand how that person works.
Yeah.
Generally people are just like, just tax returns. So some good questions are, what is your turnaround on emails and phone calls?
Yeah.
Do you include those in your pricing? I want interim planning every year. Is that something that you do?
Yeah.
And do you do actual planning or do you do projections? Because those are two different things. Will you help me? Will you help me grow my business? Are you available for talking about financials and budgets and project projections and things like that?
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself a numbers person? Not all tax people are numbers people, right?
Yeah.
You can't hand I know a bunch of tax people you can't hand a spreadsheet or a QuickBooks file to. That are just really good. Like all they do is tax returns. They don't understand their way around a QuickBooks file.
Okay.
So understanding that they're going to work in a way that works for you too. So are you in QuickBooks Desktop? We don't work with desktop. We only work with online.
Yeah.
So making sure that the tools they use also are something that makes sense for you.
Okay.
And if you want a virtual CPA, if you want somebody who works virtually with you, which a lot of people do now,
yes.
Make sure that they're able to do that. Are they across town and you have to come sit in their office? Or do they have secure portal situations for you?
Yeah. Got it. Okay. I love it. What about, let's talk about taxes. Death and taxes, right?
Death and
the only
taxes.
sure thing in life. What are the most common tax mistakes that you see business owners making?
I think the biggest one is they're not in the proper entity type. That's the biggest one. Or they might be in the proper entity type, but they don't understand the compliance that needs to happen with those entity types. One of the biggest things that's kind of come to the forefront with all the PPP loans is S corps and their owners not taking reasonable compensation, which is a requirement, but people don't understand that requirement.
Got it.
So either they were told by their hairdresser's dog's brother's uncle to be an S corp, which honestly happens, and they're not taking proper salary, and now they can't get PPP loans because it's based off payroll for S corporations. Or their CPA just decided they should be an S corp and never communicated the requirements.
So that's that points to a really key thing. So entity selection type is really, really important.
That is very important.
I think there are a lot of people, like you said, that they're making that decision without talking to their CPA because their attorney may be drawing up the documents.
Yeah.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, when business owners are doing this setup initially, it's important to have a conversation with not only your attorney, but your CPA as well to make sure that you're selecting the right entity type for what you're trying to do.
Yeah. I mean, I have clients who, would they save taxes in an S Corp? Yes. Do they want to max their individual SEP IRA? Yes. One of those things is more important to them.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's different ways that we can structure entities that is, that brings you to your goals.
Right.
And so I have a lot of people come to me and they say, oh, I want to save taxes. And I say, but why?
Yeah.
Because I can save you taxes, but what are you going to do with that? What is your priority for those dollars? And sometimes there's two or three. Is it retirement? Is it growing your business? Is it hiring somebody? Is it what is it?
Yeah.
But saving taxes isn't a goal. Using that money for something to move your life forward is your goal.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we like to suss out is, what do you want to do with that money? Otherwise, you're not going to do the work.
Well, and I can tell you firsthand, changing from one entity type to another can be very painful and it can be expensive.
Shouldn't be.
We had to do it for one of the first companies I was a partner in. It was really one of those things where it was kind of an unforeseen thing, but it was painful and it cost a lot of money. So yeah, knowing
it might cost money, but usually there's savings on the back end of that.
Yes.
Right? So I think the other thing to understand is tax savings.
Yeah.
Costs money.
Yes.
It just does.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So if we have to move to a different entity and we have to run payroll and we have to do stuff, it's going to cost money. But what are you saving on the back end of that?
Yeah. So I look at that as an investment.
It is.
It's an investment up front to get a return on the back end.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had somebody I did a tax plan for this last year, and I think he ended up having to pay out $40,000. We saved him $40,000 though. He wanted it to be like zero cash out. I'm like, that's just not how this works.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. And then also, like, are we doing pre-tax savings or are we doing post-tax savings? So that's where we work with your financial advisors to say, what does the portfolio need?
Right.
If your big thing is retirement, then we're like, well, what does the portfolio need then? Are we doing post-tax savings? Do you want pre-tax savings? Work together to make sure that all works.
Okay. So proper entity selection, super important and a common mistake. Is there another common mistake you see people making?
Not having their books done.
Okay.
It's hard to plan when your books aren't done.
Right.
It's hard to know what your taxes are going to be. It's hard to estimate. We can't do anything without proper books.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like a customer relationship management system. The data that is in there is only good as what you put into it.
Yeah, I think, and I guess really the other thing is, prescription without diagnosis. A lot of people will say, you should be this. Well, do they have the ability to diagnose your situation? Yeah. And we work with women-owned veterinary and dental clinics, so I'm always just like, guys, gotta diagnose first, right? So diagnose before prescription. It's malpractice. I always say prescription without diagnosis is malpractice. So anybody who tells you without diagnosing anything what they think you should be, I would run.
Yeah.
If they said, hey, you should be a C Corp, I would run because I haven't looked at it.
That's a really important point because, you can treat the symptoms, but if you don't know the underlying cause, you're always going to have those symptoms, right? If you want to eliminate them completely, you need to identify the root cause first.
Like, what is going on in your situation? And a lot of the time, and it really is very similar. Like, people don't understand what their symptoms are. Like, if you tell me you're paying too much tax, the next thing I'm going to ask you is, what's your effective tax rate?
How many people can answer that question?
Very, very, very few.
Yeah.
Very few. And that's where the education kind of comes in, right?
Right.
If somebody's like, oh, my pain point is I pay too much tax. The next question is, well, what's your effective tax rate? And they're like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, well, I just did the math and it's like 15%. And they're like, oh.
It's not quite as bad as I thought.
Yeah, right? Can we still work with that? Yeah, probably. But
yeah, I love that. So with taxes again,
Hmm.
let's jump into some of the commonly overlooked ways that business owners can save money through proper tax planning, right? I
Yes.
think tax planning is often overlooked, right? It's just
Yeah.
I need my taxes done, I need my
Mhm.
books done, but
Mhm.
there are a lot of things that you can do with proper tax planning.
Yeah, and I think so. What I kind of want to talk about is lazy tax planning real fast.
Okay. Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
purchasing vehicles you don't need on December 31st is lazy tax planning. Buying equipment you don't need that it's not going to create efficiencies in your business on December 31st, also lazy tax planning.
Okay.
Um, if you need those things, we can work around it. But some of my favorites are, income shifting. Can we pay the kids? Can we pay our kids? Can we, look at ways to utilize them in our businesses? That's a really good one.
Okay.
Pre-tax retirement is always a good one. How do we get as much money to the owners as possible? C corps. A lot of people are very afraid of C corps.
Yeah.
We're looking at 21% flat rate right now for their taxes. Do we think that might change with the next administration? Potentially.
Right.
Nothing certain. Everything's all we know is things are going to change.
Yes. Yes.
And
The
we're
only
just trying to keep
constant.
up. We're just
Yeah.
trying to keep up.
That's right.
um, you know, utilizing again, that goes back to the proper entity type. Mixed entity types. Maybe you're running part of your business out of this entity type, maybe you're doing part of the business out of this entity type. And then I love partnerships. Partnerships where maybe you have a spouse and you have some rentals, and we can utilize the code for you.
Yeah, that's interesting. I actually I didn't know that you could run multiple entity types.
Yeah,
I had no
absolutely.
idea.
Yep.
I learn something new every time I have these conversations.
Yeah, I mean, I just, if you have a business and you have a business reason to create a business,
Yeah.
we can run different types.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
It's really
I
fun.
also think a lot of people overlook partnerships too,
Hmm.
because I know it comes up oftentimes on the legal side,
Hmm.
right? Partnerships,
Hmm.
I think sometimes kind of get poo pooed a little bit.
Well, and I think the thing with partnerships is that they're just so flexible,
Yeah.
right? Like we can do different loss allocations. We can do different profit allocations. We can do passive. We can do active. We can do, there's just so many different options with
Yeah.
partnerships. And I also think that they're harder. If you don't have a background in partnerships and understand how they work and how to utilize them,
Yeah.
the S corp's just easier. I prefer S corps, but partnerships work in a way sometimes that really saves our clients money. I have one where we saved them almost 20 grand this year by putting them both in a partnership in a way that made sense.
And that's what tax planning does for you.
It does, and it works because they have a business reason to have the partnership, and
Yeah.
they're properly, there's a lot of compliance with a lot of this too.
Yeah.
So understanding those compliance pieces and making sure you're kosher, because I don't do anything that's illegal, but we're using the code to the advantage of our clients
Yeah.
and
And
business
as we
owners.
should.
And business owners have the moving pieces.
Yeah.
Every time a business owner is like, well, I'm a small business owner, so I pay a lot of taxes. I'm just like, no, you have so many more options than the person with the W-2.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So anybody that's tuning into this, if you need help, you need to reach out to Jamie. Okay, she can help you avoid these common mistakes we've talked
Yeah.
about. She can help you with your tax planning so that you can save money.
Compliance is important.
I super appreciate you being here. Where else can people learn more about you?
Yeah. So they can hop into the website. So it's jeokanecpa.com. And actually, Tim and I are going to be working on, we're actually pushing both of these things together in a minute.
Yep.
But you can also hit me up on I have a podcast
Yep.
with about 90 episodes now. Wide range of topics, from everything from your marketing to productivity to really just pretty
Yeah.
much anything. On our podcast, it's a business-based podcast. We talk to business owners. We talk to people who work with business owners. And we try to just give you just some actionable steps to make your business better. It's an international podcast. I think we're in like the top 5% of downloads now.
Very
It's
cool.
it's amazing, and it's so fun. Like
Yep.
you were saying, how fun this is for you. Doing the podcast is one of my favorite things. I just love to get to know people hear their stories, and then just give people actionable steps. Business owners live in their own space a lot of the time, but give them something to work towards.
Yeah, I agree. I will second that. If you've been thinking about doing video interviews, doing podcasts, I would highly recommend that you jump in and do it.
Yeah, it's
I was
just
telling Jamie before
fun.
we went live that I love doing this.
Mm-hmm.
It is so much fun, and being guest on podcasts is a ton of fun. It's a great way to get your name out there, build credibility. So yeah,
Yeah,
so you guys
I'm
got to
definitely
check Jamie out.
a better host than I am a guest.
Yeah, I think you did a great job.
Thank you. It's a skill set I didn't know I had, this hosting stuff, but it's just been so fun.
Yeah.
You know, I'm so interested in every business owner, and I think that's why it works. But
Yeah, that's awesome. Jamie, thank you for being here. Those of you that are tuning in, thank you for doing so. Again, I am Tim Fitzpatrick with Rialto Marketing. Remember, marketing your business shouldn't be a challenge. All you need is a plan. And until next time, take care.